meeting is now being recorded.
Mailer. He is the new Comptroller. He was sworn in on February 19th, which was a holiday. And he is out of state today, so he's not here to personally say hello, but so I'll do that for him. Hello. The other thing is, for those who do Kathy Shepard, I am in her shoes. I think they're high heels, and they're very big shoes, and I'm in the interim Deputy Comptroller role, which brings in the payments and contracts that come under the deputy. Daylight savings time. You always have to have a joke. We just sucked 1 hour of your life away. Tell me, how do you feel? All right, we're going to have Trinja Bumgardner start us off with some items around HRCMS and some things that are coming up.
Hold the applause until you hear what I say. Can you hear me if I do? No.
Just put her up there too if you want to do that.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so first and foremost, we have been doing a small pilot of a automated travel reimbursement program in HRCMS. We would now like to open that up for any departments who want to use it. It is a form in HRCMS. We can turn it on by department. The form includes combo codes, so if you have to charge to different accounts than their payroll account, you can do that in the form. There is core security access to the form as well, core user security access. So if you're interested in using this functionality at your department, please let me know, and I will be happy to set you up with someone to get you started on it. Is that all I had? No. We have two other kind of walk-on announcements. As you know, the state has been working to move most of its enterprise systems to the cloud, the ever-present cloud. We are moving HRCMS. We are tentatively scheduled to move HRCMS to the cloud sometime in late April, early May. That is going to have a URL change. It will no longer be hrcms-prod.state.ma.us. So if you post that link on your intranet site or your department site, you're going to have to change that. It will redirect for a brief period if you still have those old URL links out there, but it will not redirect for forever. So you're aware you will have to update those URLs. Those will be sent out in communications from HRD, CTR, and EOTS as we move closer to that project. The other thing is we have changed, the entire Commonwealth and executive departments have changed to the mass.gov domain name for their emails. So if you, we had a report from one department that they didn't receive the HRESC notifications because they went to their spam folder, because it's HRESC notifications at mass.gov. Though if you've been receiving emails from Kevin and I, they're also mass.gov, so I don't know why it would be blocked. But you may want to check to make sure that mass.gov is not a blocked email notification or domain for you at your department by your department IT. Okay? That's it.
So the clapping was by people who report to Trinja looking for stage B of the EPRS to be completed. So Mary, there she is. We kind of move it around for you.
Good morning, everyone. Tripping here. One of the things I just wanted to let people know that it's not on our presentation yet, but if you are a Metro member and you have a graduating high school senior, there is a scholarship, $1,000 scholarship that is listed on our website that you can apply for, that your student can apply for. So have them go look on the website, again, metrocu.org. It's right on the front page. You do have to be a Metro member for at least 6 months, so as the parent or guardian, your student would be eligible for this. So that came in a little later after this. So I just want to let people know that. It's kind of a little important thing. Also on the website, if people haven't seen, maybe you've already done your taxes, but if you need the tax information, you can get it directly right off the website. If you click on that little logo there, that it is now available to be able to get your tax documents, whether they're for mortgages, interest, or whatever. You can print them right off of the Metro website in the online banking. So. Yeah, and that's the page. It basically tells you to log into online banking from your account page, click on online statements, the e-tab, and you'll be able to print them right off from there. So hopefully that helps people that maybe haven't done their taxes yet. We'd like to promote financial wellness. We've been talking about this for a long, long time, and this is one of the things that we want to encourage people to make sure that they're looking at paying themselves first and looking at their financial wellness for this. You can do this through direct deposit, through the accounts that Metro has. Whether you do the Christmas Club, a vacation club, I always tell people those are accounts that instead of getting yourself into debt, you set up these accounts to pay yourself first, and at the end of the year, the money is there for you. Christmas Club does pay out October 1st. Vacation Club pays out May 1st. So if anybody is interested in those, come see me afterwards, or you can also download the app from our website. Also, always a reminder about the My Reward Savings. We think of this as one of the best savings account in the industry. You never pay an ATM fee with this account, and you can link it to a companion savings account that gives you 2% interest on the first $3,000. So we like to encourage people to try to pay themselves first, whether it be through a club account or one of our checking and savings accounts. So this is where we're really talking about trying to help people boost their financial IQ. That's really what we're here for. We're trying to give back to the community that we support. As the credit union for Mass State employees, we feel it's really important to get our message out there to help people with their workplace choices. You know, there's been studies done that last year, at the end of last year, 2018 going into 2019, people had credit card debt ranging from $5,000 to $8,000. Some people report it different ways, but that is really an astronomical amount for people to be covering for credit card debt. And also, many people don't have enough money saved up or put aside if they come into a problem to cover $500. Now that means if you blow a tire, you don't have the money to be able to pay for it. So this is where we really get into this whole financial literacy thing and making sure people understand how to pay themselves first and to keep themselves out of debt. That being said, we offer a whole bunch of new Lunch and Learn series. So our Lunch and Learn series would be that we set up the time. You'd have to tell me when I could come in. It would either be myself or Marcy. You would pick a topic, a time. We send out a flyer so people sign up for the lunch presentation. As long as we know how many people are coming, we cover the lunch and we'll do a presentation. There's so many topics here that it's hard for me to go over every single one of them, but I'll hit some of the key things. Home ownership. We have a mortgage specialist that will come in and talk about any aspect of home ownership, getting a loan, first-time home buyers, and that type of thing. Also, we might have other topics, helping people with things like holiday, getting a car loan, those type of things. My personal favorite are these two categories here. The basics of personal finance, which we talk about very much the basics, helping you maybe create a budget. Are you financially healthy? Kind of looking within yourself and looking what you're doing with your finances to make sure that you understand how to make better choices. And understanding credit is really key for anybody's financial wellness. You may or may not know that the higher the credit score, the better interest rate you get, and if your credit score is too low, you may not be eligible for getting a car loan, a home loan, personal loan, credit cards. So there's many problems that can come up with that. And, I have a whole presentation on this, so there's so many things that go into it. But I just wanted to make sure that I let people know that these are some of the topics that we have. There's a lot of words here. It's, a lot of wordiness. I do have some sheets at my table if you want to take home the sheet and look at it and see what presentation might be best for your agency. So just let me know on that. And again, lunch and learns, we pay for the lunch. You just provide us the room and have the people come. So that pretty much is the end here. Pretty succinct today. Wanted to just always bring people back to our website, metrocu.org. You check on the state logo. You can see that it's Marcy or myself is available to help people out. And on the right-hand side, membership application, they can download the application right from there or apply online. So those are some of the key things here. Do I have anything else? Nope, then that's me. Any questions? Yes. 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 So the question was, for the scholarship, is it only for dependents? Yes, it's for dependents, or you have to be the parent of the person applying for the scholarship. And you do have to be a Metro member for at least 6 months. All the details are on our website, so you can click on that and review all that. But yes, that is, you do have to be the parent. Anything else?
Yes, we'll do a drawing.
Drawing time.
Darlene Carter, EOHHS. Ooh, yeah, you. Wendy Messeline. Ty Nguyen from DOR.
So for the last drawing, we are going to do a question, and people are going to be responding. These are for the people who are out in the field who aren't here, so they can respond online. So I always like to do kind of a relevant question to the Boston area and what's going on. So in light of March 17th, St. Patrick's Day is coming up, everything I could think of, I think everybody in this room probably knows the answers to. So I did it about luck because we all know that there's luck of the Irish. So in thinking of luck, there is a statue that is in Boston that has been known to give good luck when you rub the foot of the statue. What is the name of that statue?
John Harvard?
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Somebody guessed the Blarney Stone.
That's an island.
That's not the only thing that happens to that foot. Next up is Rob Young from the Smart Plan.
I want to thank Mary for being succinct because generally what's the opposite of succinct? Verbose. We have a lot to talk about today. I will be as succinct as possible. This is I think this might be the biggest, I've been doing this for 11 years. This might be the biggest crowd we've ever had. I'm sure, I thought it was everyone coming to congratulate Kevin on his promotion, but that response was a little...
Sorry.
Okay. We got a lot to review. We have a lot of changes, as usual, with the SMART plan. Everything's always changing and changing for the better. We have some changes that have just occurred in the last couple weeks, some changes that are relatively new in the last few months, and some changes that have been evolving over the last couple years. So a lot to talk about. Let's jump right into it. For those of you that are in the plan, which is almost all of you, you received a letter in the mail, I think it was about a month ago, and it is the green flyer that you all received when you came in, and it's talking about some more immediate changes with the SMART plan, and that's the first page is around e-delivery. So what e-delivery is simply means your statements and all notifications are now available online and not through the mail. So why would we do this? Why does the SMART plan move to e-delivery? Because it's faster. Obviously, you throw that on your website versus waiting for the mail to come to you. It's much more secure, and I could go into all the different levels of security about your personal information in your statement, your address, your account balance, how you invested your money sitting in your mailbox or on the way to your mailbox, but there's multiple ways that we're reducing fraud by not mailing it to you. And then obviously it's less paper. If you're like me, and my wife and I have done the best that we can to reduce statements, reduce receipts, but we still, every couple of weeks look around the house and there's just mountains of paper everywhere and you can't find anything, especially if it's important like your SMART plan statement. So a lot of good reasons to move to e-delivery, and we're excited. So as of the next statement, so in late April, or actually closer to mid-April now, you will get an email, if your email is on file, and you will get an email saying that your statement is now available. Now, it's important to keep in mind that the statements are not emailed. So when people start coming to you and say, where's my SMART plan statement? First of all, send them to us. We want to talk to them. But if you do want to answer the question, the statements are not emailed. The email is simply saying that your statement is available. And then you as a participant log in, and it's very simple to find. It's right on the mailer. So I think that's important because email is secure, but it's not as secure as we'd like it to be. So it's simply a reminder to go out and take a look at it. And it's not just your statement, it's your newsletter, your performance results, anything else that you were regularly getting in the mail. Now, if you or any of your employees wish to stay with paper, it's very easy to do that. You can do that at any time, whether that's now or over the course of the next few weeks until the quarter closes. You just simply go online through the website, and I think the instructions are pretty clear on here. If they're not, it's pretty easy to see how you can opt back for paper, or you can simply call the call center. And call the 877-457-1900. Then every bit of literature, so you don't need to write it down. You just call in and say that you'd prefer to continue with paper and paper statements. It's easy to do. So we're not only excited about the website and the ability to make this even more fully functional, but we also want to mention the app as well. I know many of you are using the apps for so many things in your life. Why not use it to check out your balance and see how you're doing towards your retirement? It's really easy to download. Just look for the Empower app, and it'll take you 2 seconds to log right in and see your balance and where you're headed for retirement. The second thing that changed was fees. They changed very slightly. Just as a reminder, for the last 5 or 6 years, the total fee for the SMART plan was 0.0775%. We've made the decision to break that up into 0.07 for record keeping and communication, and then the 3/4 of a basis point for plan administration. So it does seem like we're adding a fee, but we're not necessarily. We're just breaking that up. We did add a fee for those with balances over $1,000, and that's $10 a year, so a little more than 80 cents a month. And you see that under the new fee structure. It's probably a little easier to, well, you could probably see that here, but it's also in the second page of the flyer. So it's the $10 and then the 0.0775 if you're over $1,000 balance. There's also going to be a cap. You won't pay more than $350 a year, and that affects a very large number of participants. I did some research and some sorting and figured out that it really is quite a few. It's in the thousands of people that will have their fee capped now on an annual basis. So just a little bit of a change. I think for most people, we really won't see much of a change at all with the fee structure. So that was effective a couple weeks ago. So next piece to talk about is enrollment. We're really excited about online enrollment. We call it PEC, which stands for Plan Enrollment Code. This is about the third or fourth time I've handed out this flyer to you all. I think last time we showed you the expired code, which didn't make you all happy. So this is the up-to-date refreshed one, and this is the up-to-date refreshed ones. Please have this at your desk. Or have the link available for anyone that's ready to enroll in the plan. Just hand them this flyer or tell them how to find it. Email it to them. It's very, very easy. You're essentially just registering yourself in the plan, choosing an amount, choosing an investment allocation, and it's 1, 2, 3. It shouldn't take more than 3 or 4 minutes. Now, if somebody wants help with the investing, we're obviously here to do that. That's why we have 15 advisors to help with the investment part and assist during any of this process. So even though we're excited about this, it's going to work well. It's going to really increase the participation in the plan. We still have active choice. We still have the traditional enrollment form. So obviously we know the advantages of online enrollment. I think you've heard me talk repeatedly over the years about how important it is to have a new employee begin with the SMART plan when they begin with their job. And so we want to give them every opportunity to do that as immediately as possible. And it can either be done through that traditional form, through the active choice form, which you all know what it looks like. It's on the back end of the State Retirement Board enrollment form. So we did, with this form last year, we did almost 1,600 new enrollments to the plan. So this is all through your help, and we greatly appreciate it. It was over half of the new enrollments for state employees were done through this process. So again, a great accomplishment. We're really excited. We did make another change to this form. That's what the arrow is, and it's an auto increase function. So if this just rolled out, I believe, 2 weeks ago. So if you haven't had a new hire in the last 2 weeks, you haven't seen this. But the first option is, yes, I want to start at 3% and then increase annually until I cap at 6%. So a lot of folks saying, well, that could be dramatic. And I was, again, crunching some numbers. And if you have a new hire making $45,000 a year, that 1% $17 a pay. So it's not a huge leap, and it's bringing them up to a place that's probably going to benefit them, or will benefit them significantly in the long run. So just some brief updates. As Marianne mentioned last meeting, the limits did go up. They're up to $19,000 for everybody, $6,000 additional for those that are over 50 or born in 1969 or earlier, and then the catch-up maximum is now $38,000 for a special catch-up. Nothing you need to do. It's all built into HRCMS. You don't have to make any changes or adjustments. Just again, a reminder, and I'll continue to do that throughout the year about special catch-up. Only enroll someone in that program if they've been approved. The new guides we handed out when you came in, I'm going to leave some on the table. I know a couple of you got here before me, but we'll leave some on the table. But the new guides are out with the new limits in it. For those of you that haven't seen this before or haven't looked at it for a while, this is really a great tool for you all. The inside shows everything you need to know about that payroll file you get every month. We get a lot of questions about HRCMS and how do I catch someone into special catch-up? Where do I find that OBRA code? And there's a lot of information in here that could help you. So please refer to this as a tool. We want to help you. Feel free to call at any time. But if you're looking for an answer quickly, take a look at this guide. It'll be real helpful. And then, of course, I have to give you the reminder. If you're leaving, or if someone in your office is leaving, and they need to be taken off access to the plan, right on the inside corner is the process to add somebody new and to subtract somebody who have access to your files. We're very excited about our collaboration with the Comptroller's office and the newest change, and that's with term with pay. For those of you at the courts and DDS and mass rehab and that we're waiting for the retro check, and people were terming with pay and wanted their money, and we went around and around. I think the last time I saw you, we're now accepting term with pay as a termination. We're loading them into the system, so much easier and quicker for those employees that need access to their funds a little more immediately. I'm going to skip over the rehire date. I had a great example around that, but if you do have instances where people do come back, you're not used to using the rehire date, we'd appreciate that. It will help us with our record keeping. But if you have individual, I know we had a couple issues with a couple of the colleges in the last couple of weeks, but I'll come back to that in the next meeting. Or let me know if you have any questions. These are the limits again. So this will be in the recording and on the slides, but it's everywhere. It's in the guide, and we're happy to send you an update sheet if you'd like one. Questions?
There's several questions on the website. First one regarding the smart plan. As private sector, does the state defer out to bid periodically to ensure the participants are being offered the best plan available?
Yes, we have a contract. It's a 5-year contract, and oh yeah, I'm sorry. The question was, does the state put out for bid the record-keeping services? They put out for bid almost everything that has to do with the plan. The record-keeping, the funds, the consultants are all done through the regular RFP process. I think if anyone has any questions specifically about our contract or the terms or process around the RFP, I'd ask them to reach out to me specifically, and we can discuss that.
And then there's a couple questions for people on the website. They're asking, can the PEC online enrollment form be emailed to them so they can hand it out, or email to employees that may be inspected?
Great question. The question is, where is the PEC enrollment form? So this is under forms. So when you go into our website and you click on forms, you look for a distribution form, enrollment form, whatever. This is, I think it's the last one. It says PEC enrollment flyer or something like that. So this is on our website. To answer that question, now that you're recording it, I can't tell you what I want to say, but we prefer not to email it because it does give people instructions on how to log in to our website and get into it, but I understand that people are emailing. It's the most practical way to distribute the information.
And then the payroll guide, is that available online also?
God, that's another great question. I don't think so. It's kind of hard to see, with the people online can't really see how this folds. It's kind of hard to read it when it's online, so I don't think we put it on there. Plus, it's only for payroll people. So we're happy to distribute these. Just ask your advisor, and we'll bring it around.
Okay, and then the last question: can we enroll employees in mandatory OBRA online instead of paper?
Can they enroll mandatory OBRA online instead of paper? We are moving rapidly towards that. We're not there yet, but that's something we'll be discussing shortly because it would be a great benefit. Paula? Paula mentions the expiration date on the code. Again, a great question. Glad she brought it up. So every 4 months this expires and then it's just replaced by a new one. Again, this is keeping why would we do this? Why not just keep it the same? Because this does give anyone access to our system. So if this goes around everywhere, someone in some part of the world is going to figure out a way to break into our system. So we want to make it a little bit more difficult by refreshing that code every 4 months. So it's the second, plan enrollment code, Other questions here? Yes. Questions around the contribution limits and the ability to do more. If someone's doing a percentage, they don't need to change anything. They'll just continue to do more as their pay goes up. But I think what you're asking is, do you need to adjust anything in here? Oh, I see. From the new form, she's asking how will you be notified around that increase. So when they sign, we put that into our system, so annually we'll notify you through the monthly file. Great question. Yeah. So anytime someone elects the auto increase, whether it's for a percentage or a dollar amount, we put that into our system and then it just kicks to you automatically every June 1st or every August 1st or whatever you choose. Other questions here or online? Thank you all very much. Enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Rob, you used to bring presents.
Well, if I'd known you'd been promoted, I would have.
Up next is Karen Eddy from the Group Insurance Commission.
Thank you, Kevin. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here and share some good news about the FSA program and some changes that are happening. During Rob's presentation, there was questions about procurement. This past fall, the GIC went back out to procurement for the FSA, and with that, in January, we recommended to the Commission, and they approved transitioning over to benefit strategies. As of July 1, benefit strategies will be managing the GIC flexible spending accounts, which is the healthcare spending and dependent care. And so as of January 1, they'll be handling that. During the procurement process, our participants have benefited greatly. The last 2 procurement cycles, we have reduced the administrative fee. A couple of contracts back, it was $3.60 a month. The current contract is $2.50, and the new contract for July 1 will be $2 a month. So for our members, that's going in a good direction, and so we're excited about that. For you, the payroll coordinators and benefit coordinators, we are working feverishly right now with BenStrat to improve the overall experience for our members and for you as the coordinator. Rob already talked about, and I feel like I'm having a small conversation with you as Rob did, but we're trying to get away from paper. We're trying to be more secure. I know when I'm the benefit coordinator at GIC, when I was, now Ruth is, but when I was, and we're a small agency, during enrollment, the papers would come in and people could make changes and which one was the last one, and I was out that day, where did they leave it? Well, we're trying to get away from that altogether. And the way we're going to do that is all employees, either re-enrolling or if they're enrolling for the first time, it's all going to be online. Paper for the FSA and enrollment is gone as of July 1. And I thought there'd be applause, but all right. I'm excited about that. I hope you are too when you're living the moment. So during annual enrollment, BenStat will continue to send you those weekly files of who enrolled. You do really want to look at those, especially if you're a larger agency. At the GIC, we have 58 people. I could wait till the last day. Some of you have way more, that's like one business unit. So you really want to be watching that list. You're watching it for two things. You're watching it to make sure that, one, it's your employee, right? Because we know that state employees sometimes have difficulty knowing where they work. And two, are they GIC eligible? So you really need to make sure that they're benefit eligible. Some people will have information to it and the system will let them enroll, but we are depending on you as the agency coordinator to make sure they're benefit eligible. And so the other great news is Ben Strat will be handling the run out for the current plan year, the FY19 plan year. We have that grace period that goes from July 1 through September 15th, and people have until October 15th to submit a claim. So benefit strategies as July 1, if it's anything to do with the GIC FSA, you're calling up to New Hampshire to talk to someone in Ben Strat. Okay? Also, coordinator training, there's a lot, because there's so many changes, there's a lot of information that's going to be shared at coordinator training. Really, really important that you go. If you haven't already RSVP'd, please make sure you do that. RSVPs are due by this Friday. And later in my deck, I have more information on that, so I'll go through that then. New experience for the members. We're excited to collaborate with our friends at the Comptroller's office because, as many of you know, Ben Strat is currently administering the transit and parking benefit, and so what we wanted to do is really think about the state employee and what their experience is. And so what we're going to be offering is one card, one login, and that card that you see up there is the card that's going to be used for your GIC benefits and if you are enrolled in the transit and parking. And so I think that members will like that. I know my staff that didn't even know we were talking about that were asking that question. So the answer is yes. Like many migrations, there's some steps that are going to need to be followed, right? So again, really important that you're paying attention to emails that come out, but also attending that GIC coordinator training will help you navigate that. For the FSA side, for the GIC FSA side, funds will be available July 1 on that card. That also means if you were in the FY19, the current year plan, and you still have money left, it will roll over onto that card, okay? If you don't have money left, we don't renew it because we have a new vendor. You got to still have money in your account, okay? And then the Comptroller's benefits, both the parking and transit, those will roll over onto this card as of July 16th. Tony and Kevin and Trinja, who I think stepped away, worked really hard to make sure that when they transitioned that we weren't going to impact anybody who uses the benefit, because I know the 20th of the month is the golden day, and so for people with their passes, so they were really mindful of that. So there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, because we really want this to be a positive experience, and we're also teaming with you to make that happen. So for you and your employees, you want to be watching for emails talking about the transition and what it means to them. It is important that they read it, and if they have questions, they ask them, because we don't want anyone standing at the T trying to use a pass and they have the wrong card, or swiping and so forth. So it will be pretty self-explanatory, but watch for the emails. Question? So the question is, when are the cards going to be distributed? And yes, they'll be going out in June, the other J month, June. They'll go out in June, and so funds will be available based on those dates. Great question. And then for the current plan year, people need to continue to work with ASI Flex if they have questions about their account. ASI Flex is the vendor that is administrating the program until June 30th. There will be a settling of accounts so that those funds that remain can transfer over. And so the debit card and the accounts, they'll start processing claims in mid-June. So those accounts can be settled and then sent to funds, and account data can go over to Ben Strat, so everything can be up and ready for employees on July 1. And then for July 1, any of those expenses an employee may incur during that settling period, which a lot of people refer to as a blackout period as well. During that period, save your receipts, and you can submit them July 1 to Ben Strat as long as you have money in your FY19 plan. And then we really want to encourage members to go paperless. I don't know how many people are using the mobile apps now. I use them both for my benefits with ASI and my transit benefits with Benstrat, and I have to tell you, I don't remember the last time I filled out a form because it's all with a picture on my phone and doing it. It's really a great way to do it. If people have questions about that, encourage them to go to the GIC health fairs, benefit fairs, because Benstrat will be there, and they're really bringing technology along to help people feel comfortable with the way things are working. Questions? Yep. I got to come down because I won't hear you. So the question is, will both deductions go onto one card? And so that's yes and no. So the reason I say no is I just want to remind people dependent care does not work on a debit card, okay? So someone could be enrolled in 4 plans, the healthcare savings, the dependent care, the parking, and transit. And they're saving a lot of money in taxes, which is great for them. But as of July 1, the funds for the healthcare savings will be on that card, and then later in July, on the 16th, any funds in your account with Benstrat will be on that card as well. Okay, so that's a great question too. How do they interplay? And also, like, some people don't substantiate, so their card gets frozen, right? So we'll think of that analogy too. Or they used all their funds. I don't have any more transit funds, but I have healthcare saving funds. These are all unique buckets. Think of your own personal banking. You might have a checking account, you might have a savings account, you might have that secret savings account, another checking. But when you log into your account with that bank, they're all listed. It's similar, except you can't transfer funds from one to the other. If you're putting something in your healthcare savings, that's the only thing you can spend it on. If you're putting money in dependent care, that's the only place you can spend it. If you're putting money in your transit or your parking, again, those are your only buckets. They can't intermingle. Yes, the card's coded. Just like, one of our cards at one point looked like one of my credit cards, and I went to Mary Lou's Coffee, and guess what? It doesn't work there. So don't try. And then they're like, you got denied. I'm like, what do you mean? They're coded so they know if you're at a medical place or if you're at a transit or not. Question? So she's asking more detailed questions about the different buckets, and Jasmine is actually our account manager for Benstrat, so I don't want to steal her thunder, but I know she can answer additional questions, but I will tell you that it's coding. When you go to that vendor and you swipe the card, the reason it works is it matches up to make sure that it knows it's a pharmacy or not. So if it isn't, it won't work. And it will know that if this is transit, and behind the scenes, the debit card will check to make sure you have transit money and process. No. Good question. She asked about the fees. There's a fee for the flexible spending account that GIC offers. That's reduced to $2. The transit and parking fee is based on that contract, and I believe that's $1.50. So, yes, it's $1.50. Two different, even though they're being staffed, there's still 2 separate programs. One is being offered by the GIC, and the other is managed and offered through the Comptroller's office. Great question. Other questions? Anybody over here? Okay, great. Again, our annual enrollment is coming up. If someone wants to be in the FY20 plan, they need to actively enroll. If you don't enroll, you're out, unless you have a qualifying event. You want to remind people, first Wednesday of April, April 3rd, through the first Wednesday of May, May 1st. That's the open enrollment period for all GIC benefits. Okay? Plan years there. I do want to call out that thanks to our friends at the IRS, they made a huge, big change. You now can enroll for the healthcare savings account all the way up to $2,700 from the $2,650. They tend to be doing it $50 a year, but if you're like my family, $50 pre-tax is $50 pre-tax. Okay? And then also just a reminder on the decap, if someone comes in mid-plan year, either because they're a new hire or they have a qualifying event, we do cap what their payroll deductions can be, and the reason for that is because unlike in years ago and if you were here when it was on a calendar year, there wasn't really any tax implications. You could take out $5,000 in 2 paychecks if someone earned that much. But now you can't because we're going through fiscal year, which means you're going across calendar years, and if someone enrolls in multiple plan years, they could go over and end up with difficulties with the IRS. So we're trying to help members avoid that. Okay? If you have questions about that, I can explain it more, but I don't want to spend too much time on that. Or Kevin can do that. He's a master. All right. So I talked about the coordinator training. Everyone should already be aware of this. Again, you have until Friday to enroll. I just want to make out some call-outs. The Thursday the 28th in Canton, full, no more capacity. We're at capacity. The Wednesday the 27th, the morning, that 10 a.m., at capacity. There's still seats remaining in the afternoon session in Boston, as well as in Bedford. I'm sorry, Bedford is just about full. I think we have one seat left yesterday, so I would consider that full at this point. So basically your choices are Boston or Amherst, UMass Amherst. Are there confirmations going out? I will check with Nick regarding that. Nicholas, regarding confirmations, great question. I'm not sure. Question online?
There was actually a question. Can you go over the blackout periods, and strategies there for student cards?
Okay, so question is regarding the blackout period. So the blackout period that I'm referring to has to do with the FY19, the current plan year, and there will be a blackout date, and I'm going to go back to that slide, for June 16th through June 30th. And during that time, if someone tries to swipe the card, it's not going to work. If you submit a claim, Strat is not going to process it. What they're going to do is not process it. So you really want to encourage people, and we're going to be sharing this information with current enrollees, is they really need to be mindful of that and hold. They can pay, they go to a pharmacy, go ahead and get that medication. We want you to get your meds, right? But you're going to need to use something other than your ASI Flex debit card. Okay? Save the receipt, and you can submit it July 1 or after, and Strat will be happy to process that if you still have funds in the FY19 plan year. Other questions? Great. And then I just had one other, so we talked about the coordinator training, and then the benefit fairs. Strat will be there. This year, we are encouraging members that Strat's team will be there to help them enroll. They will have computers there. If people are a little afraid about enrolling, they can help new people enroll and so forth, or just walk them through what that process looks like. So I want to thank everyone, encourage you and your staff to come to the benefit fairs. There will actually be one here in this room, so you all know where it is. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, thank you. All righty. Speaking of benefit strategies, we have Jasmine here to thrill you all with her words of wisdom.
Thank you, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Y'all awake? Hi. So before I go into my slides, since Karen's slides talked about the coordinator meetings and the benefit fairs, if y'all want to see me, I will be at the coordinator training on Wednesday the 27th, mark your calendars, and I will be at the benefit fair on Tuesday, April 16, which is here, right, McCormick Building, Thursday, April 18, UMass Amherst, and Tuesday, April 23rd at the State Transportation Building. Hope to see you there. Okay, so my slides. 2019 commuter, IRS has also gone up $5 on the transit and parking. So we're at $265 for your pre-tax deductions for transit and parking. Tony, do I have the correct amounts over there? Okay, I'm assuming those are correct. Hopefully those are correct. So the $125 federal and $140 state combined together gives you that $265 pre-tax deduction. Do I have that right? Yep, thank you. The employees that are enrolled in the transit and parking benefits receive a monthly balance reminder email from yours truly. It doesn't actually say from Jasmine, it just says from Benefit Strategies. Just like previously mentioned also, it doesn't actually give them a balance in that email. They're just prompted to log in to the Benefit Strategies account to check their balances to make sure they're not forgetting to submit their claims or drop down or increase whatever they need to adjust to make sure they have enough money for the upcoming MBTA increase. More coming about that. So just making sure you guys know that they are getting balance emails. So if they come to tell you, I didn't get it, well, maybe we don't have your correct email address. So please log in or prompt them to log into our Benefit Strategies website and update their profile with the correct email address so they do get their emails from us. Or maybe it goes into their spam or junk folder and they never see it. But I'm sure y'all have heard that I didn't know I had a large balance. We tell them every month or remind them every month to check your balance, right? Okay. So we have our IVR phone system also 24/7 that they can check, and the mobile app, as Karen mentioned earlier. It's super easy. You punch in a 4-digit code so you don't have to remember a 30-letter password. You set up a 4-digit PIN like your ATM PIN card number, and you get your balance on your mobile app 24/7. Before you swipe that card at the garage or at the T, you know what your balance is. Or the phone automated system also gives you that capability 24/7. So our transit and parking calendars are available in 2 different places on our website. Once you go to benstrat.com, at the very top you click on the blue button that says Client Link. Then you click on the Commonwealth of Massachusetts logo, and from there you will see the actual custom page for Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And that's where the form is, the link to the election form, and also the calendars, the transit and parking calendars. If you guys need them, I'm more than happy to email them to you, where you can just print them right from the website. And also there's links directly on the actual election forms, so 2 different places that you can find them. They're very, very important to have those handy, whether it's at your desk, on your cube, when someone calls you or pops in your office and says, I want to sign up for March. You can't sign up for March. So your transit and parking deductions are taken out the month before the benefit month. We fund your account on the 20th, as Karen mentioned earlier, the magic day, the 20th of every month for you to use the expense next month. So March 20th, we fund you for April. So you can't sign up right now for March. The deduction already came out of the March 8th paycheck for transit, and next Friday the 22nd for parking. So it's too late to sign up for March. I actually think it's too late for April. We'll jump into the calendar in a second. But these are the links, and this is a snapshot of what the transit section looks like and what the parking section looks like. It does say 265 pre-tax limit. I just want to point that out really quick because a lot of people sign up for 265, but their pass is 300. So that does not limit them to sign up for 265. It just means that's the max pre-tax dollar. You can put in $5,000. It doesn't matter. You're not going to get an error message that says you can't put more than 265 in there. So I want to make sure you guys know that, or if you have employees that call and says, my pass is more than 265, the form says 265. That's not what it's saying. It's just saying that's the pre-tax limit. So here's the transit calendar that I was referring to earlier. So right now we're gonna read it backwards. Your benefit month here means that the month that you're using the expenses or incurring your expenses. So right now, if we're looking at the month of April that you're purchasing your pass, come all the way over here. February 27th was the deadline to submit the election form on our website. Payroll ran on March 5th. The paycheck date was March 8th. We fund the account March 20th to use for April. Make sense? So that's why you cannot sign up for March right now, or even April for that matter. I have September 20th on here in yellow just to kind of stick it out because it falls on the 20th of the month, unlike any of the other months in the year. There may be a slight delay to where people will not have access to their funds. The 20th of the month gives members plenty of time to purchase their October pass, but they will call your office or our office and say, why is there money on my card? It will be there, I promise. By the end of the business day, you'll have the funds. Or try it tomorrow, the 21st. It will be there. But I just want to make sure you guys know that that may be a delay on September 20th. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Correct. And I have that slide. I don't know if you saw it. Tony's talking about the MBTA. So very important, the July passed when the MBTA increases. The very important deadline is June 5th to submit the election form to us. Question?
Question about when the tax increases, is there going to be a chart anywhere to show the new fair prices?
Yes, Benefit Strategies will have a link on the website and a warning alert message that says MBTA increase with a link to the MBTA website that gives all the rates. We don't want, nor do you guys want to assume that somebody wants that increase. So unless they fill out the form on our website, so you guys receive the form in an email, do not increase or change their deductions, pretty please, because we have no way of knowing that they did that. So if somebody walks into your office and says, oh my gosh, I need $90 from my T-Pass instead of $84.50, have them submit the form by June 5th. You can do it now. You don't have to wait until May or June to do it. Just change the drop down. Oh, too far. So the drop down here, just change it to July, not June. This is benefit months that you're needing. So change that to July 2019 and submit it. Get out of the way. If you know what it is, you go to the MBTA's website and know how much your new pass is going to be for July, do it out. Get it out of the way. The only trick with that is if you're going to change anything between now and then, you're going to have to do a new form to say, just kidding, I need $50 for May, and do another form for June and another one for July. But if you're not, you're strict $84.50 every month, great, do your form now, get it out of the way. Many reminders will be going out, yes. I'll be sending emails to you guys as the coordinators, and the participants will get multiple, 3, I think we talked about, Tony, multiple reminders to make sure they know that they have to fill out the election form to prepare. Yes, all the instructions and how-tos and the deadlines will be in those emails, yes. The trick is to get them to actually read those emails. You laugh, Kevin. You know it's true. And here's our parking. So the parking, I'm going to backtrack 1 second. So the transit, if you guys don't already know, I haven't heard me say this, the transit comes out in the first pay period of every month, and the parking is the second pay period every month. Unlike the flex spending, where it's 26 pay periods across the board for the entire year, if you're a full year enrollee, the transit and parking is one deduction for transit, one deduction for parking. It's not divided over 26 pay periods. So if I have that $84.50 Charlie Pass right now, we're not going to split that deduction in 2 paychecks in the month. There will be one $84.50 deduction in that first check of the month, and the second check is the parking. So with that said, the parking, because the 20th of the month is that magic number, we fund the account on the 20th for both transit and parking. We receive the payroll file from the Comptroller office way before the 20th of the month because that first paycheck in the month is before the 20th. Unfortunately, the parking is always after the 20th of the month. So we actually pre-funded virtual money on the 20th of the month based on what last month's deduction was. So John was signed up for $300 parking, and he submitted the form online and says, I'm not parking anymore, I'm walking, or I'm getting a ride so I don't need to pay for parking. So they complete the form to stop their deductions. Great. Until we get that payroll file to confirm that your agency stopped the deduction, we're still going to fund the account with that $300 deduction, and they're going to go swipe their card. And then we get the payroll file, and we find out you didn't have a deduction. You submitted the form that you asked the deduction to be stopped. Your payroll agency did that, but you swiped your card. Why did you ask to stop for your deductions? Well, I saw money on my card. Okay, so it's here. Want to make sure they know it's on the form. Also, it tells them that. It's in the FAQ. It's pre-funded until we verify that deduction on that second file every month. So I think maybe some of you have received some emails from Data Services Department at Benefit Strategies and CC'd me on them to where it says, hey, Johnny has a negative balance in their parking account. That's why. We funded them, we reversed it, they used it, now they're in the negative. So in the event that that does happen, as long as they come back into the plan and their parking deduction resumes, then that negative balance will be cleared out, not a problem. Otherwise, they'll get a bill from Benefit Strategies that says, hey, you owe money, send us a check, and that's it, not a problem. So it's very easily fixed. But this is your calendar again, so right now, today is the 13th, so tonight at midnight, it goes through the end of the day of these dates in this column. So tonight at midnight is the deadline to sign up for the month of April. Payroll will run next week, paycheck date next Friday the 22nd. We already funded the account on the 20th. We just need to verify that deduction on the payroll check that we get on the 22nd and make the adjustments. Same thing if somebody increases their deduction. I went from $250 to $300. We funded the account with $250. Until we get that payroll file and confirm that a $300 deduction was actually taken, you're not going to see that $50 until we verify the deduction. Vice versa, going down or dropping. So if you do have calls from your participants that say, I'm missing money from my account, until we get that file, there's no way for me to know. You can tell me that, but I have to get the file from the Comptroller, and usually comes on Thursday after payroll runs. As long as I can verify it on the file, I will fix it, not a problem. Any questions on that? I saw a hand, yes. Hi. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You mean enter their actual enrollment? I don't think I understand your question. So enter the enrollment on our website? Oh, sorry. Kevin will answer that.
The question was, why don't we allow employees in HRCMS to log on to a page that gets interfaced to you? So, right, now would be online enrollment within the system, and if it worked correctly, nobody would be typing in anything for anybody. Functionality isn't there today, maybe in the future, but as of today, it's not there. Maybe when we get a new system, I don't know.
That's what Kevin said. Did I answer your question? Yes? We're good? Okay. Any other questions? Online? No? Crickets. No form, no change. I hate to be the naggy Nancy, negative Nancy over here, but I have to because I've been told to. Please, I beg of you, do not enter a deduction HRCMS if you do not have an email from Benefit Strategies with a completed form attached to it. Johnny walks into your office and says, oh, I'm going on vacation for the next month. Good for you. Did you submit your form? Please do not make changes to their elections, because if we get audited and there's no proof to back it up to say, I didn't ask for $300 to be taken out of my paycheck, how are you going to explain that? So please don't make any changes if there's no form. Okay. What else? They should not be printing the election form. They will come to you and say, well, I don't have access to the internet. Do you have a smartphone? Does your child have a tablet? Okay, because mine do. So, yes, you do. Go to your HR office and sit for 30 seconds and fill out the form if you don't have a computer or internet access somewhere, or your website at your desk is not allowing you to go to Benefit Strategies. There's got a library, your next door neighbor, somebody's got internet, right? It takes 30 seconds to fill out the form. Please don't tell them to just print it and fill it out by hand and bring it to you, because I have no way of knowing that they submitted the form. Everything's electronic. Woohoo! So if they don't hit submit, I have no way of knowing that they made that change or enrollment or cancel their deduction. So please don't take a paper print. You can print it from your email so you have it in your file, in your record, absolutely. But don't take Johnny's form as he walks in the office. It has to come through an email. Our website address and the link to the election form. Y'all love this slide, right? So some heavy hitters, people that have over $500 in their account. Do you see your agency on here somewhere? You know who you are, right? Please call me, email me if you need a list. More than happy to give it to you. But that's redonkulous. There's a lot of people that have money they're not using, and this goes up every month. Why are they not using it? Again, if the card's away and they're forgetting about it and they're paying cash or they're using their whatever credit card to earn airline points or something and they're not using the benefit strategies card and submitting a claim, it just goes up and up and up. So please, if they accrue that large of a balance and they leave today, guess what? That's forfeited. You don't get to write yourself a check from your transit or parking account and say, oh, it's my money. No, it's not. Nope. It gets forfeited. Yes, there is exceptions to the rule always if someone terminates and they missed that deadline on the calendar to submit the form to stop their deductions. Absolutely. Tony and I will work with your agency to get that last deduction refunded. No problem. But if they accumulated hundreds or thousands of dollars in their account and they think they're going to walk away with a fat check, not happening. Please remind them to check their balances. That's why that email goes to them every single month. Check the balance. My favorite slide. So MBTA increase, yay. The only one that I know off the top of my head is the Charlie card because I'm from New Hampshire, so I don't use the T. I'm sorry. So $84.50 is now $90. That's all I know. There's a link. Again, it will be on our website, so everyone will know what is or isn't changing from what I understand. Tony, thank you for setting. Not everything changed. There's some that stayed the same or are lower, I believe. So please make sure you share the website with them. Yes, we will send lots of emails, notifications to the members. There will be a message on our website, a warning. Literally, it says warning on the website. And they do need to make sure that it's submitted by June 5th. That's like the deadline. June 5th is the last day that you can make a change for your July pass. I promise you, you will get a call or an employee walk into your office and say, my card's not working. Did you submit the form? You're not going to have $90 if you didn't submit the form. You're only going to get $84.50 because that's what you deducted, right? So please spread the word. They have to submit the form online so we can make those increases. Okay? Any other questions? Yes. Send passes instead of buying them? I'm sorry, what do you mean? I'm not aware of that. My apologies. Kevin? I've not heard anything about that. And I believe if you do it far in advance also, they'll mail it to you. Yeah.
Can't hear the questions. So for the webcast, the conversation is about how can you best do your business with the MBTA. And the MBTA has a bunch of options. At the end of the day, what you need is to pay for that option. Whatever option you want, this is the source of funds. All righty? You done? All righty. There's the contact information. All right. Up next, Yeah. That's a golf clap. Alrighty, up next is the State Board of Retirement. I think we have a short video kicking it off.
Yes. Okay.
They brought the popcorn, it's out back. Yeah, and we're having Tamara kick it off for us.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tamara Desrusso. I am the Employer and Payroll Reporting Manager with the State Board of Retirement. I am here with my colleague, Rachel Grimaldi. She manages our Springfield office and the Assistant Director to Benefits. I'm also here with my colleague, Paula Zazana, our Manager of Communications and Outreach. We do have a short video today about the enrollment forms because we do have some friendly reminders for the payroll users.
Hello, and welcome to Understanding Your Benefits. In this episode, we will explain how to complete and file a Commonwealth Agency new member enrollment form. The completed form must be mailed to our Boston office. New members will need to complete a Commonwealth. Hello, and welcome to Understanding Your Benefits. In this episode, we will explain how to complete and file a Commonwealth Agency new member enrollment form. The completed form must be mailed to our Boston office. New members will need to complete a Commonwealth Agency new member enrollment form to enroll in the Massachusetts State Employees Retirement System. The form is available on the board's website at mass.gov/retirement. Scroll down and click on the All Forms link. Then scroll down again and click on the second All Forms link. Once you are on the All Forms page, scroll down to the section titled MSRB Employer Forms. The Commonwealth Agency New Member Enrollment Form is the first link. You may notice the second link is for the non-Commonwealth Agency New Member Form. This form should be used if the new employee is a non-Commonwealth state employee who is eligible to participate in the State Employees Retirement System. These include non-teaching staff of educational collaboratives and certain regional vocational high schools, and employees of other participating non-Commonwealth entities. A complete list of MSER's non-Commonwealth employers is posted on our website. Please note, all employers are now required to use the newly updated enrollment forms. The most current forms are posted here on this webpage. The form has two sections. Section A is to be completed by the new member, and Section B is to be completed by the hiring agency. Let's take a look at Section A, which has 6 subsections. In subsection 1, Member Information, please be sure to fill in all the fields, including providing a personal email address. Then indicate your marital status by checking the appropriate box. If you are divorced, you must answer the next question, which is, if divorced, are you subject to a qualified domestic relations order? Please check either the yes or no box. If you are married, please be sure to write in your spouse's name and date of birth in the designated fields. Next, please indicate whether or not you are a veteran by checking either the yes or no box. If you are a veteran, list your dates of military service, as you may be able to buy back some of your veteran service. A copy of your military discharge may be requested at a later time. Lastly, write in your current employment position job title, start date, agency or department, and their phone number. In subsection 2, you will want to list your past membership history, if any, with any other contributory retirement system in Massachusetts. Please provide the name of the retirement system, the dates you worked there, and indicate if you took a refund of your retirement contributions by checking either the yes or no box. If you did take a refund and wish to purchase past creditable service, you must make a separate request to the State Retirement Board by completing and submitting the appropriate buyback request form. In subsection 3, please indicate whether or not you are currently or have ever received a retirement allowance from another public retirement system. In subsection 4, be sure to read the provided legal statement and then sign and date the bottom of this page. Subsection 5, beneficiary information, is located at the top of page 2. If you pass away prior to retirement, your chosen beneficiary or beneficiaries will receive the designated proportion of any amount due at your death. Provide the complete name and address of each of your chosen beneficiaries. Please note, in the designation field, you must check off one box to indicate whether the beneficiary is the primary or contingent beneficiary. In the proportion box, you must check off one box, either the all or % option. If these boxes are not completed properly, you may be asked to complete a new Commonwealth Agency new member enrollment form. The total percentage for your selection of your primary and contingent beneficiaries must each equal 100%. For example, if you designate your spouse as your primary beneficiary and your 2 children as your contingent beneficiaries, your spouse must be allocated 100% and your 2 children 50% each, or any other combination you wish as long as it totals 100%. For each beneficiary, please be sure to include their date of birth, relationship to you, and their Social Security number. And please write as plainly and as legibly as possible so board staff can easily read what is written and process the information in a timely manner. Please note, if total amounts reported on the beneficiary form do not equal 100% each, the form will not be processed. It will be mailed back to the employee with a request to complete a new form. In subsection 6, be sure to sign and date the form. This form also requires a witness signature. Note, your witness may not be listed as a beneficiary on the form, otherwise the form will be invalid. Once you have completed Section A, signed and dated the form, return the form to your agency's payroll department. Section B is to be completed by your agency. Agency staff must complete this section in its entirety. Fields include the employee's position title, start date, and the date of the first payroll deduction. Please be sure to indicate whether or not the employee is new or a transfer by checking the appropriate box. Next, check off the appropriate rate to be deducted for retirement. Contribution rates are pre-tax through payroll deductions and they are mandatory. Contribution rates are determined by the employee's hire date or previous membership date if they left their funds in the retirement system. If an employee joined the system prior to January 1st, 1975, their contribution rate is 5%. For those hired between January 1st, 1975 and December 31st, 1983, their contribution rate is 7%. For those employees hired between January 1st, 1984 to June 30th, 1996, their contribution rate is 8%. For all employees hired on or after July 1st, 1996, their contribution rate is 9%. Please note that state police officers hired on or after July 1st, 1996, their contribution rate is 12%. Once an employee reaches a salary of $30,000, an additional 2% is withheld from the portion of their salary that is over $30,000. Additionally, for employees whose membership began on or after April 2nd, 2012, and are in Group 1 with more than 30 years of creditable service, their base contribution rate will be reduced to 6%, starting on the date when they attain the required amount of creditable service, which is 30 years. And the 2% withholding previously discussed would also apply. Please be sure to indicate the employee's service status by checking the appropriate box. For example, if the employee works part-time, please check the part-time box. Please be sure to note Regulation 2.03 Membership and Creditable Service. As defined in Mass General Law, Chapter 32, employees whose initial service commenced on or before June 30th, 2009, the following criteria is necessary. Initial membership in the Massachusetts State Employees Retirement System, MSERS, requires an employee of a participating entity or employer in the MSERS to be permanently employed and permanently work on a half-time basis or more during a regular work week. Further defined in Mass General Law, Chapter 32, employees whose initial service commenced on or after July 1st, 2009, the criteria are as follows. 1, they must be permanently employed. 2, work on at least a half-time basis or more during a regular work week. 3, receive a regular compensation of not less than $5,000 annually. And 4, employers who are employed in a temporary, seasonal, provisional, or intermittent capacity and work in a full-time capacity on a weekly basis for 6 consecutive months shall be eligible for membership in the MSERS. It is important to note that the completed form must be signed and dated by an authorized person, and the full agency name and payroll number must be written on the form. In order to reduce the processing time of an employee's enrollment request, please write as plainly and as legibly as possible so board staff can easily read what is written. It is extremely important that the employer return the completed form to the State Retirement Board in a timely manner and be sure to turn on the retirement plan in HR CMS. Please mail the completed Commonwealth Agency new member enrollment form to the board's Boston office located at 1 Winter Street on the 8th floor in Boston, Massachusetts, 02108. Board staff is available to answer any questions you may have during regular business hours, which are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call us at 617-367-7770 or visit our website at mass.gov/retirement. This has been Understanding Your Benefits. Thank you for watching.
So some important takeaways from this video. It's really important that we receive these forms in a timely manner. In addition to receiving the forms, it's also important that we're using the correct form. We do have some agencies sending over old forms to us, and we are going to be returning them when we do receive the old forms. Thank you, Kevin. Also, it's important to turn on the pension plan in HRCMS when you hire a new employee. Recently, we've noticed there are some agencies that haven't turned on contributions for their new hires, and it's become problematic for us. So please, as a friendly reminder, turn on contributions in HRCMS. And lastly, also, if you can provide your contact name and phone number on the enrollment form, it'll be helpful if we need to reach out to you. And after a month, if we receive the form and the contributions are not turned on, we are going to be reaching out to the agencies. Any questions? The young lady with the flowers? Yeah. So The video will be on our website. If you want to use it as part of your onboarding, you're more than welcome to do so. Paula?
We have a video library. So if you go to the mass.gov/retirement, right on the home page, go into the video library, and the video will be posted there. Can you repeat that to the webcast?
Oh, sorry. So Paula did say that the video will be on the library, and if anyone wants to rewatch the video, please feel free to log into our website. Question? Mm-hmm. Yes. So the question we received for employees that transfer across agencies or departments, please have them complete a new member enrollment form, and the beneficiary section is also important. If you filed something 20 years ago, we have a lot of life-changing events, whether someone got married or divorced. It's important for us to have that on file. Thank you.
Questions from the website?
Yes.
Do you ever do trainings for payroll directors or in-person question and answer sessions?
Yes, right now.
Good answer.
So the answer to that question, the retirement board will be making more of a presence of a payroll users group, and we are going to be rolling out some trainings to payroll users. If there are any topics or trainings that you want us to cover, reach out to Kevin and his team, or you can send us an email to our communications department, and we'll be sure to provide that to the payroll users.
And then they're asking when the annual retirement statement will be mailed to employees.
Annual statements, we're hoping to have that rolled out late May. Late May.
Oh, late May?
Oh, yes, in May. No, in May. We're hoping to have those mailed out. If someone needs their annual statement before then, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to mail it to the employee. Good question. At some point, we'd like to go electronic, even give you access to your accounts online, but in the near future. But I don't have a date. Question? Okay. Okay, so this question is for folks that transfer from multiple departments across the Commonwealth. If you know that they transferred from a different department, just call us. We have all the information, all their employment history. Give us a call. We'll let you know. All right. Any other questions? All right.
Asking who they email for the training.
Email the communications department, or you can email srb@pre.state.ma.us.
And then will you be planning an electronic version of the salary request form?
Good question. At some point, we'd like to roll that out, but not at this time. Any other questions? We do have one more presentation we'd like to present to you guys. Yeah. So you won't have that information. We just ask that you reach out to us and we can provide that information to you. Any other questions?
If somebody goes in front of the board and gets time back past one of those thresholds that you showed about, between this date and that date, you're 5, 7, 9, do they use the old rate or the new rate?
If the board approves it, they use the old rate. If it gets approved.
The question is, there are bands of dates, and it's not an uncommon practice to have people buy back their service or tell them that they worked at another retirement like the city of Boston or what have you. So if it straddles one of those states, do I pay 7% or 9% or some other percent?
This is more of a transfer from a different board.
No, typically what happens is that they were at a different board, they left, like the city of Boston, took their money, and they said, "Ooh, I never thought I was going back." And I see Donna raising her hand. I'm sorry.
So if someone leaves,
Yeah, they get the old rate. If someone leaves, they left their funds on account. Let's say someone used to work at the city of Boston in 1972. They come to work for the Commonwealth in 2012. They never notified the board that they had previous state service. That member would be entitled to the old rate in 1972, and we would reach out to the agency and honor the old rate.
But if they take their money out and come back and are hired after April 2012, they will, their new hire date, even if they buy back all their old time, is going to be
the new rate.
2012, and it's going to be the 9%. Can you repeat that for them?
So what Paula just said is someone left their previous employment, took a refund at the old board, and now comes back to the retirement board. They are eligible to buy back that time, but they can't buy back the rate.
Should we always wait for the state board of retirement to approve the old rate before entering into the HRC?
Absolutely, yes. So the question is, should we always wait for the retirement board to approve the old rate before the payroll users approve the rate? Answer is yes. Any other questions? Because we have one more presentation for you guys. Thank you. Rachel?
Thanks, Mara. Okay.
Okay.
So the other one.
Oh.
The other way. Oh, because this was, I see. Sorry.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Hi, everybody. So I'm Rachel Grimaldi. I'm the Assistant Director of Benefits. And with this presentation, we're just going to go over a few friendly reminders and just steps you can take to make the process of retirement just easier for you and more productive for us. So the points of discussion for today are going to be deducting retirement contributions on retroactive earnings. So if an employee retires, the contract settles, and they have retroactive earnings, how we deal with that. Also, deducting retirement contributions on ineligible earnings. We're going to talk about that and how that would impact the member. And providing salary information to the MSRB. So we're going to touch on information that you can provide that will make the process smoother for us and smoother for you. So we'll start with deductions and retroactive earnings. Retroactive earnings should not be processed as make-up payments. Make-up payments through payroll are only for active members. Retroactive earnings must have retirement deducted. If the member settles the contract, they were entitled to a higher salary rate prior to their retirement date, we need to get contributions on that amount. So earnings that are not subject to retirement, those include deductions taken on overpayments to members. If the member was overpaid, they are not entitled to a refund of the contribution from the MSRB because those are earnings they shouldn't have received. Those have to be recouped through a payroll receipt voucher. You would have to recoup the funds from the member that were overpaid and then get the deduction back. Also, an important thing to note is that someone who comes back working after retirement or 960-hour employees are not subject to retirement. They are retired. Their earnings should not have retirement contributions deducted. So here's reporting retiree salary information on the salary request and release form.
Salary rates need to be reported as they are scheduled to occur, not on the date, at the payroll date that the member receives the retroactive compensation. And I'll get into why this is important later. I'll show you an example. Salary rates reported incorrectly cause us it looks like we have excessive retirement deductions when we don't. And then we have to call you and ask you why this extra money is there and so on. Okay, and then the MSRB representatives must contact you to resolve the discrepancies. So here's an example of the salary rates reported incorrectly for a retiree. So the member in question retires on June 30th, 2018. To make everything easier, we're just going to say this member contributes at a flat 7%. They're not subject to the 2%. The scheduled salary rate the member was to receive from 1/7/18 to 6/30/18 was $55,000, but this member was not compensated at this rate until pay period beginning 3/18/18. The retroactive compensation is going to be included in the payroll check for pay period 3/18/18 to 3/31/18. The agency, in this case, has reported salary rates as $50,000 from 1/7/18 to 3/17/18 and $55,000 from 3/18/18 to 6/30/18. So this is how we would balance those deductions. We take 7% of the $50,000, which is $3,500 rather, divided by 26 pay periods, so we're going to look for $134.62 per pay. There are 5 pay periods that occur between 7/1/18 and 3/17/18. So we're going to take that $134.62 multiplied by 5. We're expecting $673.10 for this period. We do get that. That is what we receive. So for that period, there's not going to be a variance. The variance is going to come in on the next slide. So 3/18/18 to 6/30/18. We're expecting to receive retirement on $55,000, so the annual amount at this rate would be $3,850, which equals $148.08 per pay period. There are 7.5 pay periods that occur between 3/18/18 and 6/30/18. So we're expecting, when we take that pay amount and multiply it by 7.5 pay periods, we're expecting to see $1,110.60. Because the retroactive increase was included in this pay period that goes back to 1/7/18, we have $1,177.90 that we receive. So we're going to take that money that we received during that period and subtract from what we're expecting. Now we have an additional $67.30. We have no idea why, and we have to contact payroll to determine what happened. Here's an example of how it would work if the salary rate was reported correctly as of the date the increase is scheduled to occur, not the date the member receives the retro. So the agency is going to report the salary rate as $55,000 for the whole period, 1/7/18 to 6/30/18, which works out to $148.08 per period. There's 12.5 pay periods total between 1/7/18 to 6/30/18. So we expect when we multiply 14808 by 12.5, we're expecting to receive for this whole period $1,851. So basically we're going to take that $673.10 that we received and add to it what we received from the second part of it, which comes out to exactly $1,851. That's what we expected to get. That's what we expect to get. Everything balances. There's no variance. We don't have to call. Nobody has to be, we don't have to call you and ask you why this happened and all of that. So the takeaway here is to just report the salaries as they're supposed to occur, not when the retro occurs. And that's basically it. Does anyone have questions? Nobody? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Really? I am shocked. I said, oh, there's got to be a million questions on this piece. But very nicely done, so that's kudos to you. Nobody told me there would be math on this test. All right, calendar year wrap up. We did it. We wrapped it up. And so just for some walking around information, how much did we have in taxable wage and taxes paid? So those are in millions. So that's $5 billion in taxable wage this year compared to $5.2 billion last year. So lots and lots of money. All right, so we talked at our last payroll user group meeting the importance of cybersecurity, phishing. We told you about, the scam where somebody sent an email and says, update my direct deposit, and the person did. And we said, really important to have cybersecurity training, ability, understanding at the department. So in this convening last 3 months, we've had 2 more. These ones are a little bit more serious. One of them was, there was a person who downloaded malware, and it's called ransomware. And what it does is it takes all your data and makes it into mush. You can't use it, you don't know it, you can't get it back. All right? The second one was, it was phishing, where they figured out, from a keylogger type of virus that says, okay, that person's a CFO, he does wires, we'll do a little social engineering, and they gave him a spoof website. And of course, as he's typing in his user ID and password, it's not working. They get a call on the phone, they say, hey, I'm from Bank of America, and I see that you're having problems logging in. Let me help you. And what they basically did, even though they had two-factor authentication, they gave away that two-factor authentication to the person who called them allegedly from the Bank of America. So on those types of issues, because we're inside the firewall and we have HRCMS and Mars, we cannot take a risk that we get a virus in either one of those applications. So when earlier we were talking about moving to the cloud, that's part of the response to if somebody inside the firewall did the same activity, what would happen? So what we did for those 2 departments is we immediately shut them off from the system. We took all their security away. They couldn't get their VPN into the system, and which, as you imagine, what would you do if you can't get to the system? How do you pay your people? We have a response to that, but this is kind of a cautionary tale. This is, we never want to have to call you up and say, you're out of business until you get your act together and your system's clean. We're also going to work with departments to has some minimum requirements around what kind of filters you have, what kind of software you deploy to make sure that your systems don't get infected in the first place. But again, since, it's happened twice since in the last 3 months, right, I needed to bring this back up again. And I won't name names. So this is what we, so say this happens to you. We shut you off. We will be looking for these kinds of actions by the departments before we turn you back on. Right? And, I don't want to go through each one of these because some of them are a little technical. You must have a deep freezer and an app guard. I have a deep freezer in my basement. But again, for this group, we're the most susceptible because your name, what you do for a living is out there in LinkedIn, it's out there in Facebook, it's out there, and they're going to say, I am the payroll director of the Department of X. They're going to start looking to see how they can hack you. Any questions on that? Anybody here from one of those hack places want to talk about their experience? I didn't think so. All right, so payroll reminders. There's a new flavor to these slides, so I won't tell you where they come from. One of the things that has happened in a couple different places where people think that they can have interns come in unpaid, or they can pay them a stipend and not report it for taxes. You can't do that. If you're going to bring in an intern, you got to put them on HRCMS. You can't pay them through Mars. You can't pay them, with your checking account. These kinds of things will be picked up in audit. Any questions about that? Those departments that are doing it, you want to talk about your experiences? I didn't think so. We're on a mission to make our policies more readily available and easier to read. That doesn't stop you from knowing where they are and actually using them. They have good information. The best practices document, our internal controls. If you do make a mistake, we will help you fix it. Our goal here around areas of policies and procedures is that if you do it right the first time, then there's no cleanup that needs to be done. We're also, because of the cybersecurity, is that we may make you jump through a few more hoops to prove that who you are when you ask us to make an adjustment. And the other thing will be, are you a signatory for your department? If you don't know, if you are a payroll director, you have to tell your DSO to also, as you entered into HRCMS, you need to go to the security to say you're a designated payroll director, and there's a flag in Mars Security that keep that on. When we did some retros, we had some issues with, well, this person's been a payroll director for 15 years, but they never thought to make sure that they're actually listed in Mars as a signatory, which is different than going to a key contact. The agency head is the only one that can give you authority to do anything. It's a delegation there. So we are in the middle of an audit with the IRS. It's actually two parts of a single audit. One has to do with whether or not you are using the IRS standards, or whether the person is a employee or an independent contractor. I'm not talking about a CN, which is an unbenefited, but your typical, maybe it's McGinnis, maybe it's one of those other kind of places where you are hiring staff out for a project or what have you, they're not real. You have to make sure that that they meet the test to be considered a non-employee. And it's all around taxes. They want Medicare tax, they want withholdings. So that's the first part of it. When they were in the middle of doing that, they also got wind of our uniform allowances. And the uniform allowances, and we talked about this last time, needs to be an accountable plan, and they need, it's because it's cash. So you have to follow those rules around the IRS to be considered a non-tax benefit. So the IRS law, which because we have one part of the audit back around the uniforms, specifically spells out what kinds of things did not meet the exclusion for taxes, and we will be paying, someone will be paying taxes in arrears for calendar years 15, 16, and 17. That's a kind of a cautionary tale to you people again, is that if you have a question about whether something's taxable or non-taxable, we can be of assistance to you, but you need to know what the fact pattern is. Because there is de minimis. There is, if you had an accountable plan and people gave you receipts, the answer could be yes in that situation and no in another. But the IRS has a lot of good information to help you through that process. And then the Treasury regulations talks about other things that you may pay employees that are reimbursements. So I'm going to use mileage because that's an easy one, right? Generally, it's non-taxable, but it has to have a business connection. You can't just pay for somebody to commute. So it has to be for business. You need to have adequate accounting and timely return of excess. So the IRS doesn't have a hard and fast rule about what that timeline is. They have a suggested, if an employee is out to get the reimbursement or ask for a reimbursement 120 days after they took the trip or had the mileage, that would be considered non-timely. Right? So again, this is in terms of your organization about is it timely or not timely. What can you do or not do as far as paying mileage? The other thing is if you do have a uniform allowance and you do get the receipts, there's another piece of it. Can that piece of clothing be used as everyday wear? And that gets really tricky. So it's easy if it's like, flame retardant clothing for your business, less so if it's a pair of chinos that everybody wears anytime, everywhere. So again, it goes back to the fact pattern. What is it that you're reimbursing? You could still always pay it. It's just that you'd have to tax it if it doesn't meet the requirements. So if you have a collective bargaining agreement that says you need to pay a clothing allowance, absolutely can be done. The BO8 is now taxable, so it will always be done if you use BO8. But again, it's that next step if you want to make it, if you have a situation where you think it should be non-taxable. Any questions? Absolutely not, because as I understand it, there is no receipts, right? Are you from the Department of Corrections?
No.
All right. No, if you use BO8, it's being taxed. It has been since beginning of last year. No, it should be. If you don't have receipts, right, meaning it's an accountable plan. If, for example, you don't prorate it, right, I get paid the $750 December 21st to everybody who's out there, regardless if they work the full year, part of a year. There's all those kinds of fact patterns that you need to apply in this, so that, without being a lawyer to say what specifically, is the tax pattern, you really should go to the IRS site and say, does it meet that? Alrighty. So this talks about how we made the taxable, the code that you usually use is taxable. If you do have a true accountable plan, there is a code that you could use as long as you can prove that you do that. And you can't use sweatshirt, jeans, athletic shoes, etc., and consider that non-taxable. That's always taxable. Alrighty, so get into the home stretch, people. Any questions?
Actually, a couple a little bit off-topic questions. One, going back to MSDR, if an employee is rehired after a break, and then the state board sends letters to revise deduction rate from 9% to 8%, does the employee get a refund of the payroll deduction from MSDR of 1%?
The question is around if somebody was paid at the wrong rate, will they get a refund? They've left, but generally I believe they do. No, they pay it and send a 1099. Another question?
Yeah, and this one came up and a few people chimed in on it. There's payroll and fire off subject. If an employee called out during the weather code, can they use the weather code? Our agency states no, but we have an extremely persistent employee who insists she can use 2 hours of weather and then 5 hours of sick time. Can someone please advise or notification reaching out to the agencies as they have the past reminding employees that they're out on the day of weather, they cannot use that towards their time, and there was like 3 other people chimed in and asked. It's varied by union and the questions came up.
So this is a question about, the weather emergencies. HID does send out instructions. They are posted. So the answer to that question really gets down to what department you're in. But generally, if you had a scheduled day off and it happened to have weather, right? You're not part of that emergency, therefore you don't get that benefit. I mean, it's just common sense. But again, it really goes back to whatever their HR policy is. If they're executive department, the write-up is very clear about the rules on that. And that's posted on the website somewhere. And on the bulletin, on the HRCMS bulletin. My experience is everybody uses that same policy regardless of branch of government or department. Consistency is always good. Okay. All right. There's a couple things to know before we meet again in June around what happens in fiscal year close. Starting May 1st, you can start putting in your payroll holds. On June 1st, your position assigned account rules will be rolled, meaning you'll have 2 sets of documents out there, one for fiscal year 19, another one for fiscal year 20. You have to ask to have those rules extended if nothing's changed. There will be a process with ANF. The instructions have not come out, so I don't know if the amount will be the same. But generally, any encumbrances over $25,000 for a payroll hold or anything after a date that they will give you would require ANF approval for executive deposits. So that business will all happen before we meet again, and those are the kinds of things to keep in mind as May and June, which is not that far away, show up. The rest of these slides will be happening at the time we meet again. What the last full payroll is. Anybody who's doing budgeting, trying to figure out, will I run out of money before split year? Start doing that analysis around this time to see how they're going to fund their people in every one of their accounts. Last day for PRV for the cash cutoff of 7/1 is on June 30th. It's actually will be July 4th. July 1st being the beginning of the year. Yes. I'm doing that from memory. You're going to beat me to it, but I'm pretty sure it is yes. We will start to approve it and deny particular rules. And we do set up those documents for you so you don't have to type them in all over again. So they'll be set up in a draft form, and we will send out instructions around what the naming convention is so that you can find your rules in the catalog pretty quickly. Accounts payable, which happens after split year, will happen, and so when you set up your payroll holds, you need to make sure that you set them up by object and department and appropriation, and you should include the justification of why you can't pay people on time. Right? Because if you pay your people on time, you have no accounts payable. HR reminder, be careful. There'll be very detailed instructions on this, but be careful around this time when you're setting up both your rules and your encumbrances, your payroll holds. And you should make sure that you have these things correct for the ongoing year. Any questions on fiscal year end? All right, thank you. Oh, we got a question. Wait, you can't leave. We got a question. Pardon me? Oh, she's asking about paperless payroll. We won that fight. It's over. We're virtually paperless as far as the Commonwealth goes. But if you have people who are not paperless, turn them off.
Kevin?
Yeah.
Is there going to be any information on that filing of the payroll tax for the new leave law?
Yes, there will be. The question was, the new paid family leave law, will there be more information coming out? And the answer is yes.